No. Morning everyone. Welcome back to another vlog. We are back to normal programming. It is currently Sunday, a Sunday in June. I'm just doing a little self-care situation. It's quite nice outside today, but I just want to be ready for the day before I go and sit outside and read. I'm reading The Coast Road by Alan Murrin at the moment, which I'm really enjoying. I only started it yesterday after having seen quite a few people talk about it, in particular Jess Decker, who's no longer on Instagram, which makes me so sad, but I really miss having her on there actually, but she is on Substack. But I know that she read and loved The Coast Road, and I was feeling something a little bit Irish. It's the only way I can put it. Sometimes you just need some Irish lit. I'm about halfway through that, but I'm really loving it so far. Before that, yesterday I finished Bunny by Mona Awad, which I think I may be one of the last people on the planet to read that book. And I don't really know why I picked it up. I think it's because the sequel of it is coming out and I saw my friend Lavelle talking about it. And that made me feel like I should pick up the first one. And it was absolutely batshit crazy. It really was, but I really enjoyed it. I think it would be a good spooky season read in the autumn. But I also quite enjoyed reading it over like the heat wave as well. But yeah, after that I fancied something a little bit more like rooted in reality and something a little bit less abstract. I love an abstract read, but I'm still navigating the straggling ends of a reading rut. So it's quite important at the minute that I pick up books that I actually will sort of grip me. And sometimes I find an abstract read slightly too much work for the current sort of phase of reading that I'm in, which is just if a book can distract me from my phone for more than half an hour, then that's a good time. Why is brushing your hair so exhausting? Feels like all I do is film here, but I promise I do actually hang out in other parts of my house, not just the bathroom. But I feel like when I'm getting ready for the day, it's like such a good time to talk because I'm just doing other things. It's been a pretty busy weekend so far, and it's been a bit of a tricky week actually, because it was my birthday last weekend, which was so much fun, but it was just a much busier weekend than I would normally have. It was like two things leaving the house, which I wouldn't usually do that, but I got to see my family, and I got to see my friends, and that was really, really nice, because for quite a few of my friends that was like the first time that I'd caught up with them since the wedding. So that was really, really nice, because I feel like, yeah, I don't get to see them that much, and it was really nice to catch up properly. So yeah, that's pretty much what I did. And then I opted to take, well, I don't work on Monday, and then had the Tuesday off as well. I took the Tuesday off as an extra day off, which was definitely needed, because yeah, it was much busier, and I really needed the time to just recover. I think especially we were in the sun quite a lot. It was a very hot weekend, and I just had a really bad headache. I'm on my period this weekend, so like that was kind of building up, and yeah, it's just been a little bit of a rough week kind of recovering. And I think I am still also forgetting that it's only been 6 weeks since the wedding, and that is still enough time for me to be feeling some of that in my body still. Not just the actual day, but I think I'm still really on a bit of a come down from the year leading up to the wedding, in terms of the planning and just like the mental space and energy that took. It was kind of like a period of low level chronic stress, I suppose, on top of like lots of other things, like managing my health and working full time, and you know, all of that. So I think I'm still also just dealing with that physically, mentally as well. It was a lot, and I think I keep kind of just describing it as like I'm just on a bit of a mission to kind of fall back in love with life again, after a long period of time where I had to be really, really careful, because I was sort of preparing for this thing, and like being very boundaried, and also just coming out of a really intense season of like seasonal depression over the winter. And I think I'm just somebody whose body really keeps the score. I don't think I've still fully come to terms with like the breadth of what that actually means, and all the things that I can feel in my body. Just kind of dealing with that a little bit, I suppose. My fringe really needs a trim, hence why I'm just pinning it back, because I can't be asked to deal with it. This is what we're dealing with. I think I'm just trying to figure out what I'm gonna do with all of this space that I have now, and trying to find the balance between like enjoying this space and letting myself have it, and also wanting to try some new things, wanting to make more time for things that I know make me happy and like stimulate my creativity, and then also just trying to slow down and be okay with this pace of things, and not having something to direct all of my energy towards. I'm realizing that there's underneath that there's just a whole lot of anxiety, which when it has something to move towards is kind of fine and goes a bit undetected, because it just looks like I'm really organized and really on it. And actually when it doesn't have anything to hook onto, I just kind of spiral a little bit, and I have been struggling with that the last couple of weeks. On top of that, my endo symptoms are getting like worse and worse again every month, and I'm feeling quite like fed up and a bit lost with that too. I'm just in a bit of a weird space at the moment where I feel like there's new things coming, there's new things brewing, but I don't know where I am in the middle of all of that. And I'm just so tired. I'm just so tired too, and like want to honour that and I want to take care of that, but my brain is like struggling with that. And I think the reason why I'm saying it is because I know it's very easy maybe to look at people who live very soft and slow lives on the internet and think, oh, that's so nice, that must be so nice, and like I wish I could be more like that. And while the majority of the time that is how I feel, like I love this little life that I have, yeah, I think I like this little life, I love this little life, it also has its own things, especially when the reason you're living that little life is primarily because there's not much for you outside of it that it feels doable. And so I guess my way of coping is by romanticizing it and by making it as beautiful and as lovely as possible, because if I'm going to be here, then I may as well feel as good as I can within it. But that doesn't mean that I really struggle with how contained it feels sometimes, and there is so much sometimes that feels like it wants to come out of me, and there's just like nowhere for it to go almost, and or I don't have the energy to do anything with it. It makes me feel sad, and I think I'm just now in a new season of post-wedding where I'm figuring out what this looks like now, because I've been so contained by this other thing, and yeah,